And then we get an intro for some reason. Like all of a sudden, we decide that this episode where we're trying to cram so much story, this is the time we get an intro, y'all. We've forsaken. See what I did there? Hello and welcome to Embodying Mystical Mac. I'm Mac, and if you're new here, thank you so much for joining. If you are returning, thank you so much for coming back. Yeah, today we're gonna talk about the Wheel of Time episode 3. Extremely sorry I dropped the ball on the timing, but we're not giving up. We just took an unintentional hiatus, all right? I'm good at managing my mental health, but also say goodbye to this setup pretty soon because I shall be moving, which is actually really exciting for the channel because that means I'm gonna have a permanent recording setup, which is going to make recording things that are more intensive like this a lot easier for my brain to process and actually get to a lot quicker, I'm hoping. Anyhow, my own self-development journey aside, let us talk about The Wheel of Time Season 3, Episode 3. Yep, it had some highs, it had some mad lows. My initial thoughts are these, okay? So they seem to be cramming in a lot of story to sort of get on track, which is a problem that they created for themselves, if I'm being honest. But it still kind of annoys me because it just, put it like this, if they're trying to be Game of Thrones, I'm gonna compare them to Game of Thrones, and they did it better. So some ideas essentially vibe, which I'll get into when we get into the detailed notes here that I took, while others honestly just showcase their lack of respect for the source material, but essentially what's new, right? I did review the episode before starting this, so this shall be very fun. Let's just get into the notes and breakdown. Why not? Our initial thoughts are done. Let's just get into it. Got my little trusty notebook here. There we go. There we go. All right. So right off the bat, we have a Raven reveal. Okay, so it's Gabriel, the Queen's consort. Woohoo. We get to know that. He is shady and has actually used compulsion on the royal family in order to make them think that he's been there the whole time. Okay. Haven't read the books in a long time, but that feels right. Anyhow, we get a little Forsaken meeting going on where we also get introduced to Samael. So there's that. And then we get this Robin Mogideon sort of, flirty action. I don't know how I feel about that. And then we get an intro for some reason. All of a sudden, we decide that this episode where we're trying to cram so much story, this is the time we get an intro, y'all. We've forsaken, see what I did there? The intro this whole time, but this time we get one. So, okay. We have Elaine and Nynaeve, the interrogators. They have taken upon the journey that will be discovering the Black Aja. So that is a fun part. That is one of the parts I kind of enjoy more. Taim enters the chat. Taim gets talked about, the other false dragon who's rather powerful. Yeah, Mazrim Taim. He was low-key one of my favorite characters in the books. Not because I liked him, but he was just interesting to me. So I appreciated Taim mention. Let's see, what is up with Elida? That is all I wrote, and when I reviewed the episode, I reviewed it by reading a detailed recap, and I'm not entirely sure what I meant here, so we're just gonna continue. Let's see. Leandrin didn't love, but rather possess her son. I'm guessing at this point, the show is trying to make me sympathetic to Leandrin again. Stop it. It's okay for her to choose evil and be evil. I will repeat this later on. In my opinion, the creators of the show don't understand the tower politics. It feels a lot more like a, measuring contest, if you know what I mean, than it does like strategic tower politics. Like, that's just my opinion. Let's see, I just wrote here, burn Elida, burn. Now, whether Elida delivered a burn, which is highly probable, or someone delivered a burn towards her, which could have been Varen, I think, if it did happen. That's what that was. You know, we had some fun little lines. Like, we do get some fun little lines every now and again. I do, you know, giggle or have a reaction that isn't pure disdain. It does occur. So let's see, okay, Lost Ones. Don't remember if that is what the Aiel call the Tuatha on in the books. If it is, it sounds right. But even if it's not, I do appreciate that term that the Aiel use. It kind of hints, you know, at what we'll see in future episodes that you've already seen. So I enjoyed Ruark's performance. I like the actor. I think he's doing a good job. I hold the Aiel near and dear to my heart, so we approve. Let's see, Layla, of course we bring her back. She's like, fetch, it's fine. Let's see, they were really wasting time with Alana and with Perrin's whole Layla nonsense. I'm sorry, I can't. Let's continue. Okay, let's see. Bear is rad. Again, the Aiel are winning, always. Bear is rad. Lanfear is okay. That is what I wrote. Moiran / Rosamond is coming across as petulant. I think I was a little petulant here in this note taking because I wrote Moiran. That's my couple name for them, actually. Moiran. But no, I wrote Moiraine / Rosamond because I'm being petty, because this is not our Moiraine. Like, it's not the book reader's Moiraine. So she's Moiraine / Rosamond in this note, I suppose. She comes across very petulant. And I don't like it. This is part of why I wrote Moiraine / Rosamond, because this is not the Moiraine I know. Like, the Moiraine I know is like so polished that even if she does have a bit of petulance in her, you cannot tell because she is so polished, you know? This, I don't, not my Moiraine. Let's see, good on Bear for not falling into Moiraine's whole little thing she's got going on and, like, you know, being the strong, wise one that she is. Again, with the not my characters theme, not my Lan. Like, my Lan from the books would be just fine in a sweat tent. He'd be fine. And if he wasn't, like, it's not, like, you know what? No, he'd be fine. He'd be absolutely fine. I don't know what this is about. Let's see. A Moiran S-E-Xcapade. Yeah, okay, because we must. That's what I wrote here, because we must, right? Like, we're just going with humor now. Let's see. And then Lan had his whole thing, and I was like, wait, is Lan actually, like, considering? But then I realized that the reason he followed her, Melindra, was because of the Malkier tattoo situation. So I was like, okay, I get it now. Because I'm like, really? Like, we're gonna, let's not throw a wrench in Nynaeve and Nylan. Sorry, I just love coming up with these names. Let's not throw a wrench in them. Like, they're one of the few good parts, except for when they mess him up by, you know, like having Nynaeve like incessantly talk about the arches with him and having him ask, but whatever, beside the point. Let's not throw a wrench in the whole couple, so I'm glad they didn't. And then I just wrote Sen. Oh, Sen. And I appreciate that note, you know what, because that is how I feel about Sen Bui in the books. So thank you show, for once, like, keeping up with something. Like, I would have been so sad if Sen turned out to be like, and I think we met him in the first season, but I would have been sad if they like retconned him somehow. So thank you for that. I really love the Two Rivers folk, you know, and their gumption in protecting Perrin, one of their own, as they say. They really want me to care about Alana and Maxim again, and yet I just don't. They are just not important enough, especially in an episode where they're trying to cram so much story that it's like, you know. Let's see. So showcasing the bond this way with Alana and Maxim is super annoying and disrespectful. They just don't get the assignment. And then I put a little asterisk and was like, facepalm. Because quite literally, like, they don't get the arches. They don't get tower politics. They don't get, again, all my opinion, whatever. But they don't get tower politics, and they don't get the water Aes Sedai bond. Like, this whole thing of like, oh, turn it on, turn it off. Nah, dude. Nah. That's not a thing. Like, also, it kind of fully defeats the purpose of the bond if it gets dimmed all the time. Like, it also defeats the purpose of bonding with said warder if you need the bond dimmed all the time. Just nah. I put it like this. It's not that I necessarily think that they need to do things like the book all the time. It's just that when the book does it better, go with the better idea. And in my opinion, this weird on and off bond thing is weird. It diminishes the point of the idea of the bond. Okay. I wrote here, I don't love Fail. I don't love, like, looks wise, yes, until you put her next to Perrin, and I'm really of the mind that she should have been taller. I just think she should have been taller. Yeah, anyways, but it's not just that, it's the fact that I don't love the way that her acting is coming across. So, I even drew a little sad face, because I didn't want to have this feeling. But anyways, we go on. So we keep, let's see, here we go. Okay, this note is kind of spoilery. It's a matte note, so skip to the time on the screen to miss this spoiler. Okay. So I wrote, so we keep with his death story, but not in the desert, with Rudion being involved. So Min will save him, or are they going to Game of Thrones wannabe again and kill him off for real? What are we doing with Matt? Like, what was that all about with the vision? Min, flip-flopping, doing weird things with the story. I guess we shall see. And yes, I have watched Beyond this episode, but I'm just gonna pretend like I haven't. Until I say some shit like you guys have already seen it. Let's pretend right now. Okay, anyways, spoiler over. Let's see. Again, I'm sorry. I keep harping on this because they keep showing this to me. Why are we elevating Maxim? And like Alana, maybe a little bit, because she's an Aes Sedai. You know, she's got a whole other thing going on that she does in the books that they may or may not do here, I'm not sure. But why? Why do we keep elevating him like this? For what reason? What reason? That doesn't have to do with something that has nothing to do with the show. Just questions to be had. Okay, Luke and the circus. We get Luke and the circus. That's fun. That was the note. Let's see. Wait, why is Fail so tiny? See? Why is she so tiny? Like, again, in the face, in the look, the girl works, but her acting, in combination with how small she is and compared to Perrin, I don't love. I'm not saying, because Perrin's a big guy, I'm not saying she's supposed to be, equal in size or anything. But man, just a little bit taller. Would have been cool. Dane is a solid guy, but we knew that. Mint is getting tense. That is Min and Matt, if you didn't get that. Enter the Terangrial and Tanchico. Tanchico is coming into the picture. Varen is being shady. We're not even asking where that gray man, rather, not necessarily where he came from, but we're not even asking how he got stabbed, are we? Black flag. Okay, so Leandrin is going as far as non-consensual memory erasing in the name of her cause. This is what I mean. She chooses evil. She chooses evil. Let her be evil. Stop trying to sympathize her, please. Not necessary. Don't gotta do that with everybody. Let's see. Min and Elida bond. Okay. I guess. All right. Okay. Loved this whole sequence. Matt's reaction to Galad. When Galad and Gawain are being all showy, right? Oh, wait. We're not there yet. But Matt's reactions to Galad are pretty epic. Okay, let's see. Elida with the tower politics. However, they were kind of too on the nose, though. Again, this is kind of what I mean when I say they don't understand tower politics. Not super well done, in my opinion. Let's see. Perrin stepping into leadership is great. What the heck is up with the music? Once again, y'all, like, the music is just, it's trying to make me feel things instead of just, like, you know, evoking feeling. Don't love that. Although Perrin was inspiring. That actor did a good job in that moment. Okay, here we go. Oh, it was that sequence. It just got broken up. Okay, cool. I thought I knew what I was talking about here. Matt with the staff. Lovely to see. Lovely to see. Although, why does Matt, like, lack discretion? Like, I still don't love that coming into the picture. Let's see. However, Galad and Gawain are being pretty silly. And I really do love this whole sequence that we get with Matt just, like, slaying the game with the quarterstaff. Like, slaying the game. I love this. Definitely a high. Few highs there were. Why am I talking like Yoda? But definitely a high. This was definitely a high. Matt with the quarterstaff, just completely kicking ass, kicking Gawain and Galad's asses, who definitely deserve it. They were acting a fool. And I wrote here, in this case, this is boys being boys, you know, quote, quote. But this time it's very warranted. It doesn't feel like a waste because we get to see Matt in his full badass glory with the quarterstaff, being a gambler, you know, because it's a bet, of course. It's just a very, very authentic Matt scene. And even though his storyline doesn't necessarily feel authentic at all in so many places, I love that we got this scene. Like, this scene made the episode for me. I literally wrote most fun I've had all season. Also, thank you for putting these completely conceited princes in their places, honestly. Mwah. Chef's kiss on that. Let's see. Not sure that Perrin and Fail have, like, the kind of chemistry I wish they had. I'm just not sure. I don't know, man. Perrin and Fail are literally one of my favorite couples. And I'm disappointed. And then, of course, Mo Gideon, the spider, being creepy and sneaky, you know, cosplaying as a servant. As she does, I guess. Get it, girl. Spider around. Do your thing. All right, those were my notes. Those were my notes for the episode. I'm definitely less fired up, you know, because I'm not, like, fresh off of watching it with my own eyes. I just read the synopsis, but don't get me wrong. I feel like the person who wrote the recap was a fan, and I could tell, and I was having moments while I was reading that. But yeah, man, just highs, some few highs. Woo! I've been recording for a bit. Not just this batch recording, but anyways. Few highs, mad lows. I just feel like they don't get a lot of stuff. My final thoughts on this episode, season 3, episode 3. They insist on wasting time with characters that we don't need to care about, right? Obviously, I'm talking about Alana and Maxim here. It just takes away from me. Maybe it's just me because I know how much story they have to get in. Obviously now there's no story, thank goodness. I'm sorry. I'm not happy people are out of a job, but I am grateful that they're not going to get to butcher the source material anymore. Yeah. Oh, that's all I'll say. I don't like that they insist on wasting time. And it's not always just with characters that we don't need. It's also sometimes with like foreshadowing that isn't necessary at this time, or a plot point they just decided to throw in there like a wrench, you know, that will have repercussions later that they don't see, you know. Now they won't anymore. Now they won't. Yay. Anyways, they don't get tower politics or how progression of talent and skill works. This is where I stop pretending that haven't seen the next few episodes, because I witness how they try to show a character learning a new skill, namely in this case Egwene with dream walking, and they just don't get it. They just don't get building upon skill, it seems. Like there's always some Deus Ex Machina moment where they just know exactly what to do and how to navigate, even though they've literally just learned the thing, you know, and this thing gets hyped up as something that is so, you know, very coveted and difficult to grasp fully. Yeah, that cheapens things, in my opinion, when they do the tower politics and the Dies Damar very rudimentarily. Is that even a word? In a very rudimentary manner. Because it cheapens it. When the source material does it better, follow the source material's guidance. That's all I'm gonna say. It's not like adaptations haven't used, you know, direct quotes or used quotes from the source material they're adapting in order to craft dialogue. I feel like if that was done a little bit better, I'm not insinuating it wasn't done at all. My personal opinion, I don't think it was. I think they just were like, we get the vibes, do our own thing. However, benefit of the doubt, if they did try to pull from dialogue from the book and emulate it, I don't think they succeeded. And it just cheapens the whole thing for me because the better version already exists. I still hate that the gray men are a Mogideon creation only thing. Again, I think it makes her a little bit too powerful when the Forsaken are all rather very powerful all in their own right. I think it also makes her a little bit more powerful for absolutely no reason. I also believe that the gray men that come just, you know, from long-term servitude and therefore a deal with the Dark One, I think that storyline is a lot more interesting. It also kind of gives the gray men their own sense of agency instead of them all being this like hive mind, I guess, because Mogideon's controlling them. Yeah, I just don't love that. I still don't love that. And of course, the gray man in this episode made me think of it. So I'm over and I said I'd mention this again, I'm over the Liandrin sympathizing. Like, it's okay for her and any other character, such as like Valda, you know, the Forsaken that aren't Lanfear and aren't actually sort of conflicted because they love Luther and Telamon. It's okay for evil characters to choose evil time and time again and therefore just be portrayed as such. Until they make a choice that contradicts the evil ones they continuously make, there is no need to waste time sympathizing us to them. You know, especially when you're doing it in a way of like, yeah, okay, Liandrin is taking revenge on that guy because, you know, he's about to do to another very young girl what was done to her. That is attempting to sympathize as to her. But then, you know, she goes and chooses evil again by going, yeah, no, just erase the girl's memories, even if all her own memories go with her, which is like, the reason, listen, I'm all for giving characters complexity. The reason that particular setup doesn't work is because for Liandrin to actually be sympathetic, meaning for that tactic to get us to sympathize with her to work, she has to still prioritize the girl having a life that Leandrin couldn't have, you know? At least in my opinion. Like, it can't just be about the taking revenge. Because if that's the case, we don't need to see the whole thing play out. We can come in when it's already happened, save a little bit of time to be used elsewhere, you know, and like come in with her like standing over her body, you know, or not her body, sorry, the dude's body, you know, everybody slaughtered, whatever the heck. And I don't know, I'm like, let's continue. And we could have, I don't know, I believe it could be done differently. To me, it felt kind of like trying to get us to sympathize with her, but, you know, still have her not even care whether the girl like has a full life anyway, because she's like, oh yeah, just erase her memories. Doesn't matter if you like basically make her a vegetable by taking away all her own memories too. It just, to me, it's okay to allow characters who continuously choose evil to be portrayed as evil until they actually make a choice that contradicts that. And Leandrin taking revenge on that dude, you know, under the guise of like, oh, just don't want this to happen to another girl, is kind of like that whole thing is dead in the water when you don't care about the girl's mind being scrambled to hell. You know. Okay. Final note on my final thoughts. It's a positive one. At least Matt finally slayed with the quarterstaff. At least, ladies and gentlemen, at least. Because me oh my. Yeah, okay. Few highs, mad lows. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so grateful that you are here. If you've made it this far, please consider liking the video. Please consider subscribing to the channel. And please consider clicking the bell because I do post regularly, but not on a schedule. And I do, like, listen, not this notebook, the other one I was holding. It is full of my episode notes. It is not like I haven't watched what's happening, although I do believe I still have the finale to go. That will be my reward. I will get to watch that and take my final notes of this shit show after I get through all these videos. So there is more coming. So that will be very helpful for when these subsequent long form videos come out for you. I also have some trailer reactions coming. So yeah, like the video, subscribe to the channel, click that bell button. And if you would like, go ahead and comment. Let's just do any of the playing card emojis. I know they have like the suits. So just pick a suit, put it in the comments in addition to any comments that you might have on this episode. Keep it cordial, keep it classy. We're all humans here just discussing a really horrible adaptation of a fantastic fantasy series. You can also follow me on social media. I'm at Embodying Mystical Mac. And I also have a very active music account. I'm releasing a song this month. I'm super excited. That is why I'm all made up here. This is my Mac the Siren makeup. So you can find that at Mac_the Siren on Instagram and at Mac the Siren here on YouTube as well as on TikTok. Help out my TikTok if you'd like. It's definitely not doing great on the view front. Anyhow, yeah. Thank you so much for being here. Check out the description if you'd like, but I'm just grateful that you're here vibing with me while I critique Amazon's The Wheel of Prime. Shout out to the subscriber who commented that because it is gold every time I say it out loud. Yay! Till the next one with my yellow Aja shawl. Oof, for real. I'm really glad to be back. I do thoroughly enjoy critiquing this show. So thank you so much for your patience. Stoked to get to the next ones. Bye. May you always find water and shade.